In this lesson, we're going to see how to create a generic class that has two type parameters. What we're going to do is we're going to create a class called the pair class, which allows us to store pairs of data values and treat them as one. In other languages such as C++, the pair class becomes the basis for associative structures such as a map that have key-value relationships. In other words, one piece of data is a key and another piece of data is the value that is based on that key. So let's go ahead and see how to create a pair class using two type parameters. So we'll start off, we'll create a file pair.java. So we'll start out public class pair, then we'll provide our two type parameters, and what we'll do is we'll name the first one T1 and the second one T2. Sometimes you'll see two different letters like T and U, doesn't really matter. We'll use T1 and T2. So our first item, which we will call first item, the first value stored in the pair, will be of T1 type. And the second item, which we're going to call second item, will be of T2 type. Then we'll create a constructor This is all very straightforward programming. Of course, notice we use T1 and T2 as the data types for the two parameters. And then the last two methods we're going to create will be methods for returning the first item and the second item. I don't want to spend too much time dragging out the definition of the class. The point is to just demonstrate how two type parameters can be used. This is all we need for the class definition, so let's go ahead and save our file, bring the command prompt window back up, and let's compile it, make sure it works okay. And it does. So now let's use the class, so we'll create a program called pairprog.java. Let's get our screen in place, there we go. So once we get main defined, here we go, we'll create a simple pair using string and integer to demonstrate how the class works. So for example, we might say grade 1, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to drop down to the next line to pass in some arguments. Like so. Let's do one more. Just like so. Then let's display the name and grade for each one of these. So we'll do a system out print line grade 1 first, and then system out print line grade 1 second, and then do the same thing for grade 2. And that's all we need to do to demonstrate how the class works. So let's save the file, come back to our command prompt, compile, and then run it. And there are our two pairs. So to create a class with multiple type parameters, we simply list them out using a comma to separate them and provide separate names. And then other than that, we treat them just like we were working with a single type parameter. So that wraps up the lessons for this chapter on generics, and we're ready to move on to the exercises for the chapter.